Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the evening session of Day 7. 28 Days to a New Consciousness begins right now. Live on the Awaken the World page. And of course, my name is Garen. So nice to see you all. So, interesting day today. Kelly woke up and her sinuses, it appears, I had the feeling our boy child brought some virulent strain of something home with him one day. I could just sense it. And I said to Kelly, I said, be on guard. And sure enough, it got her. So thankfully, I'm okay right now, but Kelly's a little bit stuffed up and she's been doing some tea tree oil inhale sessions with some nice boiling hot water. And, I've been looking after her as best I can. We actually kind of had a busy day today. I started a once a week, 4-hour part-time job today. It was more out of just the joy of interacting with people. I make people laugh, and it may not seem that way, but it's true. I do, and it's just so much fun to make people laugh. I really do enjoy it. So we started this morning with a little talk about, the world is not the way we see it anyways. It really isn't. Our perception of solidity and of things being solid and having, a lot of material to them, well, it turns out that that's not really the case. Now, that doesn't mean that, you can walk through a wall, but sort of it does. We'll get to that on another day. Right now, if you tried to walk through a wall in your current state of consciousness, you're going to bang right into that wall. But the realization that the wall is mostly empty space and that you are mostly empty space suggests more to solidity than just the presence of particles, because we already know there's almost no particles there, and the ones that are there are busy flashing in and out of existence. They really hold no set space or location, in space and time, and they're moving at near the speed of light. This is magic. It really is. So I've borrowed a little bit of an article from Ron Curtis, and I just want to read a few things to, again, open your mind as to the limitations of what we perceive in our world alone. And we're just talking the physical right now, okay? So we consider light to be a combination of basically red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, right? Violet, the colors of the rainbow. But if you study wave theory of light, you will know that visible light is just a small portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. A very tiny portion, as a matter of fact. So how much do we really see in our world? Well, it turns out we see roughly 10% of what's really there. So our concept of reality, according to our vision alone, we're only seeing 1/10 of what is there to be seen. There are animals that detect electromagnetic radiation beyond the limitations of the human eyes. And there are physical detectors that go even beyond what animals can see. For example, moths and bees detect ultraviolet light, which humans can never see. The ultraviolet or black lights used to make things glow give us just a glimpse of what things look like to these creatures. On the other end of the spectrum, animals that hunt at night are able to see infrared. We use, of course, nightscopes or starlight scopes to see at night. A starlight scope is different than an infrared scope. Let's just be crystal clear about that. It actually uses starlight. It gathers the minimal light available, amplifies that, and then applies that to an image. And a starlight scope will illustrate things in green rather than red. As far as our limits of hearing goes, okay, humans, animals, and even some insects have a range of pitches or wavelengths that can be sensed or heard. Within this range, there is also a minimum and maximum volume. There are very few humans, and I am fortunate enough to be counted among one of them, who are actually capable of hearing below 0 decibels. My hearing is actually good to about -9, which is very rare. You will find sometimes between 0 and 5 to be the average limit for human hearing for most. Some do hear, 1 in 10 will hear up to -5. And a very rare person will hear a little deeper, a little quieter than that. When it comes to volume, at 120 decibels, our hearing is spontaneously shut off. You have total hearing loss at that point. So, of course, anything louder than that is beyond our perception. A high volume can cause pain and even injury to us. Certain people can take higher volumes, i.e. younger people can handle it better than older people, but of course high volume is never good for your ears. Just as light has a spectrum or a wavelength, so does sound. We have a limited range of pitches in which we can detect, and we discuss those in terms of hertz. And really, it's between 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz is the average range of pitch that a human being is aware of. That is a tiny, tiny little portion of the pitch, the vibration that's out there. There's limitations to our touch as well, okay? We often don't feel anything when a mosquito lands on our skin until she actually starts to suck your blood. And sometimes we don't even feel about that there. There is also a sixth sense, of course, and many would argue that our senses can be pressed right up to 21 senses, including the ability to feel muscles and tendons stretch within the body. And it's hard to decide which way we would link those, or in which area we would classify that ability, okay? But the bottom line is this. We have amazing senses, yet our senses are quite limited when it comes to all the information and everything that would form what we would call physical reality. What does that mean to us in our daily lives? It means that we are only getting a part of the picture. We are only hearing a part of the story. How can you use this? How can you take this information today, and hopefully you found occasion on more than one time today to look at the world around you, to look at an object, or look at a person kind of strangely and see if you could see through them, or have the realization that things are not as solid as they appear to be. In the same way, you can allow yourself to begin to accept that your senses are providing you with only part of the picture, that there is a grander story, a larger stage, far more actors, and far more dialogue. You know, many of the things that speak to us in the world speak to us beyond the level of our hearing. And yet, at deep levels within, we are made aware of those things. You know, when I woke up this morning, I went outside and there was some blue sky and it did not look like it was going to snow. And the Weather Channel even reported that there was no snow. But I walked back in the house and I said to Kelly, the first vibration that I got when I walked outside was it was going to snow today. I couldn't tell you where that came from or how I received it. Yet, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, it started to snow. Nice big soft flakes. We live in a wondrous universe, and we're only talking this physical one. We haven't even moved back into the realm of consciousness and spirituality. Allow some of that miraculousness, some of that wonder, some of that magic to come into your life every day. Be aware that you are limited and open yourself to be willing to see and to accept and to feel the more that there is. Have faith that it's there. Have faith that you can connect with it. And I give you my word, you will. I promise you. Much love. Namaste to you all. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning when we continue with morning of day 8 of 28 days to a new consciousness. Namaste and good night.